does have a Hammer of Perforos in the main and 2 Mutavaults in the main, so mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But still very much a classic mono red beat 'em ups. Falter guys. He's got the 4 Fire Fist Strikers. No blocks for you. Get in there versus Control. Both these players 5-0.
I just realized too, looking at this list, correction, he's actually playing blue-white, which is a good explanation of why there's no Ashiok in this deck, having the fact that he has black in his mana cost. So, still, we'll chalk it up for us. We'll take that record.
All right, so Jeremy Stowe starts off with a Burning Tree Emissary into a Fire Fist Striker on turn 2, loading up with 4 power on the board. If he can follow up with a Chandra's Phoenix, perhaps.
We see Luke also playing a nice little spread of removal spells here. He's playing Ratchet Bomb in the main, which is I'm a big fan of, especially in the blue-white deck, because you don't have the option of black or red in this deck to play the more spicy removal spells. So you're pretty much all in on Ratchet Bomb, dealing with permanent problems, because it's either that or your Detention Spheres. You're also in a situation where you have to play 4 Detention Sphere, which is a very shaky way to deal with a lot of cards because of how many things get rid of enchantments. All right, so the red player's crashing in. Yeah, that's
Probably
good.
a Reckoner, yep.
Yep. And here's the Ratchet Bomb. Did he not put a counter on it? I think Luke just forgot to put a counter on the Ratchet Bomb.
No reason to keep it on 0 in this matchup, and you need to get it up there to 2.
Yeah, that was it's not good. Gotta play, make sure, you know what I do?
Play tight.
I used to do especially, is put a dice on your deck. A lot of players do that to remind you that there's something I need to do in a turn, especially things like Ratchet Bomb, things like Osmodet, because for getting one of these cards, Osmodet a little bit less now because of the new rule, you're allowed to put it in what's it, pre-combat if your opponent wants to, or in combat, your opponent gets to choose. Is that how does it work for Osmodet? I think you're allowed to, if you forget the trigger and you remember during your main phase, they have the option whether to let you have it now or in combat.
Or the next phase.
Yeah, so, but, you know, before it was just RFG for good for
So
a short
Luke
period of time.
all in on Supreme Verdict, but doesn't have double wide. Does he have double wide?
No, and
Nope.
Did he not put a counter on Ratchet Bomb again? Is he just...
So
Luke,
compounding.
maybe Luke is just ready to go the next game. I don't know, it seems he's not really doing much.
Fanatic of Mogus.
That's going to
Dealing
deal
7 damage.
Yeah.
If it resolves.
Alright,
Nope.
so we have the counter spell here. That
Scry.
Ratchet, I bet that's a Plains.
Better be.
That Ratchet Bomb needs to be at 2 now. It just seems like you're leaving it at 0 is going to real bite you at the end. So it's not a
But
Plains.
7 power on the board, dead to any burn spell. Could just be a shock in here. No passes.
Yeah, because if he would have
he's got
remembered
the
those
light.
Ratchet Bombs, he would have actually saved 4 life there and been at 6 and then really have a shot in this game, you know?
Yeah, as it is, all Jeremy needs to do is untap and cast a Lightning Strike. Now, Luke,
Yeah, he's
still
down.
no,
Yeah, there's nothing
still
he
no
can do.
white. So what did he keep on top?
Yeah, he put it on bottom. Yeah.
Put it on the bottom.
So Luke, I think you realize, you know, you gotta really remember this Ratchet Bomb. Forgetting once, forgivable. Forgetting twice, you know, we're starting to get into the realm of you know, sloppy play. So I think Luke's going to definitely, like I said, the dice on the deck is a good tip to those listening if you want to remember triggers. And I'm not going to act like I've never missed a trigger. I mean, we all miss triggers all the time. We all miss, not triggers, excuse me, activations. And the best way to avoid that is to give yourself a little reminder like that. And I still do it today. So even though, you know, I've been playing with cards like Ratchet Bomb since their inception there. All right, so we're going to the sideboard here. I think blue-white has a much better aggro game than the other decks because they have a lot of lands that come to play untapped, so they're not always shocking themselves and dealing damage to themselves. He's got cards like Ratchet Bomb in the main deck. He's going to bring in 3 Celestial Flare or 2 Celestial Flare. He has Last Breath, and that card that we haven't seen a lot of in Standard is a 2-mana instant, and it removes the power of 2 or less from the game creature, and they gain 4 life. Another great card against aggro. 2 Frostborn Weird, great against aggro. Glare of Heresy, good against the white aggro decks. So he's got a lot of juice after board, and he gets to remove all these cards like Divinations and Syncopates and Negate and things that are not so great against a red deck.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeremy Stowe doesn't have the greatest sideboard against control.
You can't board that in, can
No,
you?
he's got 3 Burning Earths, but
He's got 16 basics over here.
Luke's only playing blue-white. Now, the way things were going with Luke hiccuping there, maybe Jeremy thinks that he might have missed his black, but he had, what, 3 basics that game, so
Yeah.
if you're Jeremy, you're probably not looking to your Burningers. Bring in a second copy of Hammer of Perforos, but not much after that.
And maybe the Mutavault.
2 Skull Cracks, like, for
Yeah,
the Revelations.
Yeah,
but
you definitely. Yeah, you bring Skullcrack in. So Skullcrack, Hammer, and then Mutavault, I think. And then the things you would cut are all 4 shocks. Shock Hat Speed was a weak, very weak, awful card against this matchup.
See, this is where I was talking earlier in the day about the power of Chandra Pyromaster. Even against Control, they're gonna tap out to Supreme Verdict at some point. And then you just resolve a Chandra. They don't have that many creatures to attack her with, so you're just getting spells you're drawing cards for free every turn.
Yeah,
and just casting spells off of your library and keeping threats in your hand, keeping your hand stocked, so that at a certain point you can just throw burn spells at their head.
Yeah, and either you win when you're the aggro player by outmaneuvering them early on and then putting enough pressure and tempo on them, or if all else fails, you sputter a little bit, then you can play Chandra Pyromancer and then regain some card advantage and be able to finish them off that way.
Yeah, Burning Earth, not the 4-drop that's going to get it done here. So
No.
Jeremy Stowe's going to have to hope that his main deck, for the most part, is enough to take out the blue-white control. And it is a very good main deck for that task.
Yeah, I think if Luke plays, he's on the play here, so yeah, I like his chances this game. He just has to really remember these activations, and then remember if you have these single white hands, then you need to waste turns. I think he had a turn 3 when he just said go.
He had an Azorius.
He had Azorius Charm. You got to cycle that draw card. You have to hit the planes. To win this match.
It's very likely that Luke just kind of camera tilted.
Yeah.
Right, you sit down there, if this is your first time on camera in a feature match area, blinded by the lights.
Yep. I can remember the first time I was featured, it was super exciting. I just remember just gleaming from ear to ear there, running to my little feature match, playing against Nassif in the Grand Prix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been something.
I won, though. And the only reason I won is because it was sealed, and my sealed was stupid. It was not due to my play. But yeah, it's a lot of the times that's why sealed is my least favorite format, because of the variance involved in what you open.
That's why it's it's not my favorite. I like to draft more than sealed, but
Me too, yeah.
the variance, I feel, gives me a shot.
I love variance. Yeah, variance is done me in and sealed pretty often.
All right, so if you're Luke, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Collect yourself. This is a brand new game. You know what you're up against now, so I think it's okay to mulligan very aggressively as the control deck against mono red, because there are certain key cards you're looking for. And if you don't have them, you got to throw them back. You got to have a Supreme Verdict in your hand, because the red deck is going to overcommit for sure. Burning Tree Emissary is a card you're not playing out one at a time.
Yeah.
It was designed to just spit out 2 or 3 creatures on turn 2.
Yeah, and a little update from the Pro Tour. Looking at Wafotapa's list, that's why, again, Ashiok was on my brain. His list has 0 Ashiok main and sideboard, and he is actually the only player in the top 8 to be undefeated in Standard. So Wafo is definitely the master of control through and throughout. He's just famous for doing it. And, if you want a really optimal Esper list, check out that top 8 of the Pro Tour there.
All right, Rakdos Cackler, we'll see how many Burning Tree Emissaries Jeremy will commit to the follow-up. A little less good on the draw, because Luke will have access to that Supreme Verdict sooner, and will have access to it before Fanatic of Modus. That's where the Burning Tree really adds up the damage, is when you drop a turn 4 Fanatic and just dome them with an extra Lava Axe.
Yeah, definitely.
So instead, a second copy of Rakdos Cackler and a Mutavault. Not a bad card to have against the control deck, but possibly cut him off from making a double red play here. Burning Tree or an Ash Zealot.
Yeah, the Detention would have been real nice there, but we'll see what Luke's packing.
Yeah, no plays so far from the control deck.
It's always good news for red. Jeremy's got to smell out a Supreme Verdict here.
Yeah.
Luke's hands on the table. We can't really see what's in there.
Or an Azorius Charm. I don't know if you can even commit that Mutavault.
I think you do, just for the extra 2 damage. I think you don't mind if you get Azorius Charm here. Well, Luke, I think he has a Supreme Verdict, I'm pretty sure.
He must to have kept his hand and not played anything on turn 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. What did we say earlier? We said the control decks somehow got slower and the aggro decks got faster, but they're both winning, so it works out.
And the mid-range decks got more mid.
Yeah.
So there's a Supreme Verdict, takes out 2 Cacklers.
Oh, Frostborn weird.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I don't really like that in this matchup. But it is a powerful creature on its own. It gives you a mana dump. I like the 1-drop better than I do Frostborn Weird.
It's another creature. What he likely did was took out at least his shocks and replaced them with Frostburn Weirds.
Yeah.
Just because shock doesn't do anything here.
The Jackal Pup. What's his name again?
He's not playing the Fire Drinker Satyr.
He's not playing the Fire Drinker Satyr yet, so I guess this is the next best thing for mana dump for red. So it looks like it's Aetherling in hand, and I can't see anything else in his hand. Luke's been pretty good at hiding it from us, so we just have to wait. Skullcrack, as suggested, and he has Chandra's Phoenix. So we're going to play Chandra's Phoenix here, and then we're going to attack with Mutavault and send them all in, I think. It's probably the safest way to have 3 different sources of damage. I mean, you could just pump Fire or your Frostborn Weird, but I like it better just kind of sending all of it in. He might hold open, too, the Skullcrack, in case he don't want any revelation to gain life, but
small revelation for
it's
what,
a very
2?
small revelation though. So I think you can tag a Mutavault here just to offset it anyway. Yeah, you tag a Mutavault here. There's a big reason.
There you go, committing 5 power to the attack.
So you have Celestial Flare here, and I think you sacrifice the Chandra's Phoenix here because you're holding Skullcrack. I think it's a pretty easy decision. You lose 1 damage, but you gain an advantage later on.
Yeah, that is another reason that Skullcrack is good in this matchup. Chandra's Phoenix almost certainly going to die for some reason or another. Just another spell to
so
get
it
it
actually
back
gives
with.
him an option. I mean, I would have definitely bounced the Phoenix and then Edicted him, but Luke dispatching a lot of the enemies here. The problem is that took 2 cards to really only deal with 1 creature, and the creature was temporary. Like we said, he's going to just get it back with the Skullcrack. So Jace, and I think we're going
Jace
to +1 here. Oh no, we're minusing, and that's not very good.
Not against a Mutavault on the board.
No, you just don't want to throw away Jace, even though
He shows an Azorius Charm.
Yeah. So Jeremy just needs to put Charm and Pile on one of the others. I mean, there's no real option
Is
here.
that other land? There's a Mutavault, yeah.
He already played. Luke already played his land return too, so he just put Charm in one pile. He's thinking
He's
about
got
it.
a lot of burn in his hand. He's got a Skullcrack and a Lightning Strike. The Frostburn Weird, which was put back in his hand with Cyclonic Rift. That was kind of a surprise. Is that Cyclonic Rift a main deck card?
Yes, his main deck.
Singleton main deck, just as a Mize.
Yeah, it's a
Shaheen,
Mize.
as the kids say.
So Mize is these butcherers of English created this word.
But you're not an English teacher, you're a history teacher.
It's the same thing. English is like, history's like English with some interesting stories in it. I grade my kids' papers with grammar in mind and all that stuff, you know.
Did you see the joke article, probably on The Onion or something, where Queen Elizabeth has revoked the colony's independence because the government shut down? That you no longer have the right to govern yourself.
Yeah. We're definitely the world likes to poke fun at us when this is happening. So. All right, so Jeremy is going to tap 2 and then play his weird man.
Just gonna hold up here for his double burn spells. Yeah,
he's going to. Problem with that is he can put
gives Jason another activation.
Jason another activation and puts it at 1, 2. We'll see. I mean, I think you send. I think you kill Jace here with one of those and then burn him with the other. Well, now
or send the Mutavault, make him use the Azorius Charm.
Yeah, then have one burn spell there.
Players, we are currently taking signups for today's Legacy Open Trial. If you'd like to play some Legacy today, it's $10, and the tournament
He already
starts
has
at
land,
5
so I guess 6
p.m.
other charm.
Everyone who goes undefeated will get a voucher for a free entry to an open. Again, Legacy
But doesn't
trial
have-
starts in less than an hour.
Doesn't have hard counter for those burn spells.
Yeah, it's just, at this point, Luke is definitely scraping at the barrel here, trying to find some kind of out. But Jeremy just almost has enough points of burn to deal it. So Luke's going to go to 2 here. Or if Jeremy likes to hold one of them back. But then he should have sent that mutable.
Depends. Could depend on what Luke does. At the very least, one of them get back the Phoenix.
So he's going to try to draw a card in response. Okay, so it looks like that'll
Now
resolve.
it is a triggered ability. Okay, he remembers. Good. I was gonna say it's a triggered ability, Chandra's Phoenix. But when you're a mono red player, you have so little to think about
Yeah.
that I certainly.
You know what? I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that because you know I can't count the amount of article Twitter debates I've had with. Not saying that you worse players or people that don't want to think play red, but you definitely have an easier decision tree
Yeah.
than you do with the control decks. And it's funny because the only advantage you get from the control decision tree is that you are able to do more things later in the game. You have more option, but you don't get the same reward. In this deck, in the red decks, you have a small decision tree and it gives you great reward. You just keep attacking them, and if your opponent doesn't do the perfect plays, they're dead. So, I mean, I see the upside for playing aggro.
Yeah, when I say less to think about, I don't mean that it's a dumb man's deck.
Right, yeah.
It still requires a lot of thought to win, but you can think more about each individual decision because you don't have to worry about turn 10 plus.
It's easy to
You're trying to finish.
You're
the
trying to
game quickly.
maximize damage. That's your aggro plan. Maximizing damage. Where control, there's a lot more aspects where you can mess up in. You can mess up in planning ahead, like we talked about earlier when you had a Spring Verdict in your hand and you're like, I'm gonna get you, and then they play a Sin Collector and you lose the game because you've been waiting too long. It's a lot to think about. All right, so Jeremy wins 2-0. The Red Boys take down the Control Menace. We'll say it the other way around. The hero
Well,
wins,
you
right?
are a menace.
Yeah, we are a menace. The Control Wizard has been defeated here. Big news about that is I think you need a third color. And I know he's 5-0. I hope Luke the best. I hope he top 8s. But the third color really helps you answer these problem creatures that are around. He didn't play a spell till turn 4. And looking at his deck, he really doesn't have much to play before then, game 1. He has a bunch of counter spells. You have 4